I've tried that before though.
And then when you do, make sure once you see the gauge moving, top up.
I think that's better. That's better than actually leaving it.
It's powerful, it's better, it's less, it's very economical. And it makes economical sense in doing that than to wait. You know, when there's scientifically, when there's air in your fuel tank, it consumes more.
Yes. Okay, so Annie's going to have a lecture on how to get your tag up and make sure that you're not losing out on that. By the anyway, thank you very much, Annie. It's now time for the news updates here on Good Afternoon Ghana with me, Desmond Okrekuda. So we'll take a look at our headlines. And as we're talking about the One Ghana Cedi energy sector levy officially takes effect today, Wednesday, July 16, after a brief postponement prompted by stakeholder concerns and global. We'll tell you more in this bulletin. And also coming up, the Attorney General directs the Economic and Organized Crime Organization to investigate 2 NDC executives cited in Galamsey allegations. Also, President John Dramani Mahama pledges that cocoa farmers in Ghana will receive 7 farmers are fairly compensated. For joining us, we're live on Facebook at by the government, and President John Mahama aims to address Ghana's energy sector challenges. And we went on the streets to sample views from some Ghanaians, and this is what they had to say.
And to say be a generous one fine ya the next time no vote government in Baba electricity be no dear ye problem na say option na say emeboa mine dear any dear e be difficult am I na say e dey do so no to betwa na di mpuntu dwuma ba mine no ma ye problem e you right say ochi because say to boot nyina wo matwam nti say one cities no so mo ochi a enka any problem any to boot we ni esi kwa ha it's almost right. So I understand about boy if you say light off on an ordin. Say you to me not them yet. Na ba, na ba into I understand about boy. Mamma dear, what can obey? Obey my. Ye were jiddy when you say, be ordered and obey be out to me. It's a bomb pie, sir, ye penny phone. So more and yes, idea, Ghana han, a ensure any light, any hearing, and why.
And President John Dramani Mahama has ordered the immediate arrest and prosecution of members of illegal anti-Galamsey tax forces who were extorting money from legitimate small-scale miners. He described their actions as criminal, unacceptable, and a threat to Ghana's efforts to regulate the mining sector. Speaking during his thank you tour of the Western North region on July 15, President Mahama expressed deep concern about the growing report of environmental degradation and unlawful activities linked to illegal mining, also known as Galamsey.
To be honest, this is a national emergency. The National Task Force will conduct legal anti-Galamsey task forces that go around extorting money from legitimate small-scale mining companies in this illegal anti-Galamsey activity.
% of the world price
of Ghana's cocoa production. But I'm aware of the hardships our cocoa farmers face: low prices, inadequate extension services, and delays in the distribution of cocoa inputs. And so let me be clear today, we will ensure our commitment to pay our farmers 70% of the world market price of cocoa. The sweat of our cocoa farmers deserves dignity and a fair reward. We've also restructured the cocoa rehabilitation program, especially in Bia and Dwabosu areas, where swelling shoots and old trees have drastically reduced cocoa yields. Under the new leadership of the Ghana Cocoa Board, they will prioritize the distribution of improved seeds, regular extension support, and proper compensation for rehabilitated cocoa farms.
Now, away from President John Dramani Mahama, the Chief Executive Officer of the Lights Foundation, Sheikh Ali Abubakar Napari, has strongly condemned the recent attacks of violence during the Ablekuma North parliamentary rerun election, calling for urgent action by law enforcement and political stakeholders to break the growing cycle of electoral brutality and impunity that continues to threaten Ghana's democratic integrity. There's more in this report.
It's unwarranted, and attack on even journalists. I witnessed that one journalist was assaulted by slap from the one that's supposed to know better, the police commander. So we condemn all these attacks, and elections supposed to be peaceful, and people will have to cast their vote with the serene and peaceful, serene involvement. Divert from all this for political vigilantism. In fact, I'm so happy that there is an inquiry, or government has even interdicted the police officer who has slapped the journalist. And I take this opportunity to condemn this, and then I call on government to do full-scale investigation so that those that find culpable should be punished. In Parliament, the government is getting full two-thirds of the parliamentary. I think this is God Almighty Allah knows the reason why He has given President John Mahama this opportunity to save his nation, and there's no excuses. He should deliver his campaign promises. And I call on the other side, the minority, they should make sure that they hold the government in power accountable, and they should stop. They shouldn't be destructive. They should focus in building the nation. At the end of the day, we voted them to the parliament so that they can do the laws and the legislation to help the country improve.
We had the CEO of Lights Foundation, Sheikh Napari, speaking about the incidents that happened at the rerun of the Ablekuma North parliamentary election that took place last Friday. And we're crossing over to Parliament in a bit as we try to connect with our correspondent, but also Laurette Koko-Asante, who is the MP for Etiwa West, is addressing the press in Parliament regarding the incidents that happened at Ablekuma North. And so let's cross over and take what she says. Okay, we're still working on that to connect with the feed from Parliament. You're still watching the news updates here on Metro TV with me, Desmond Okwekudan. So now let's cross over to Parliament for that presser.
North Odoko Polling Station 2. These attacks on media practitioners are fundamentally incompatible with democratic governance. Press freedom is a cornerstone of Ghana. Allowed to perform their constitutional duties without journalists alongside a coordinated effort to silence those who would document and report on electoral irregularities. The Ablekuma North violence is part of a disturbing pattern that began with the chaos of 7th December 2024. The NDC has systematically weaponized violence, turning our electoral process into a battlefield where democratic norms are trampled underfoot. This pattern must end. This pattern must end before it destroys the democratic gains Ghana has made since 1992. The international community has watched Ghana with admiration as we built a stable democracy in West Africa. The Ablekuma North events threaten to unravel that reputation and undermine the hard-won trust in our democratic institutions. President John Mahama now faces the defining moment of his second presidency. His response to the violence and the shameful conduct of his senior officials will determine whether his administration stands with Ghana's democratic values or tolerates the violence tactics that threaten our constitutional order. The president cannot remain silent while members of his government celebrate violence against opposition figures. Dr. Hannah Bissue and Malik Basintale have disqualified themselves from holding public office through their inflammatory and violence-endorsing statements. Their continued presence in government sends a dangerous message that the Mahama administration condones political violence. President Mahama must choose. Does he stand with Ghana's democratic institutions, or does he stand with officials who celebrate attacks on former members of parliament? His decision will define his legacy and determine whether Ghana continues on the path of democratic governance or slides towards the normalization of political violence. The international community is watching. Ghana's development partners are watching. Most importantly, the Ghanaian people are watching to see whether their president will defend democracy or protect those who attack the political parties or journalists or the regular citizens. The minority caucus demands the following actions: the immediate dismissal of violence-endorsing officials. President Mahama must immediately dismiss Dr. Hannah Louisa Bissue from her position as CEO of the Minerals Development Fund and Malik Basintale from his role as acting CEO of the Youth Employment Agency. Their celebration and justification of violence against opposition figures disqualifies them from holding any public office. This dismissal must happen to demonstrate that the government does not condone political violence. All individuals involved in the Ablekuma violence must be arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The police must provide daily updates on their investigation and arrest. There can be no impunity for those who attack our democratic process. The Ghana Police Service must conduct a thorough investigation into their security failures, including the alleged role of Chief Superintendent Lumor Frederick Sunanu. Any officers found to be complicit in the Ablekuma North violence must face immediate dismissal and criminal prosecution. President Mahama must publicly condemn the Ablekuma North violence and personally apologize to Honorable Mavis Habakumson, Nanekwe Friye, and all the victims of the violent attack. Statement must be unequivocal and without any qualification or justification for the violence. To the people of Ablekuma North and the Ghanaian people, do not allow these acts of intimidation to silence your voice. Your vote is your power, and you must exercise it without fear. Ghana's democracy depends on your courage to stand up to those who would steal your constitutional rights through violence. To civil society organizations, the Ghana Journalists Association, and all defenders of democracy, join us in demanding accountability for these heinous acts. The time for silence is over. The time for silence is over. Ghana's democratic future hangs in the balance, and we must act decisively to protect it. The minority caucus will not accept this descent into political barbarism. We will use every constitutional tool at our disposal to hold this government accountable and ensure that justice is served. We will not rest until Ghana's democracy is secure from those who would destroy it through violence and intimidation. Let me repeat, we will not rest until Ghana's democracy is secure from those who would destroy it through violence and intimidation. We will monitor every action and inaction of this government, and we will hold them accountable to the Ghanaian people for their response to this crisis. The international community must also take note of these developments. Ghana's status as a beacon of democracy in West Africa hangs in the balance. We will call on our development partners, the African Union, ECOWAS, to closely monitor the Mahama administration's response to this crisis and take appropriate action if democratic norms continue to be violated. We call on all Ghanaians to reject violence in all its forms and recommit to the democratic values that have made our nation a beacon of hope in West Africa. Together, we must ensure that Ghana's democracy remains strong, peaceful, and secure for generations to come. Ghana stands at a crossroads. We can choose the path of democratic governance where violence is condemned and those who perpetrate it are held accountable. Or we can choose the path of political chaos, where government officials celebrate attacks on opposition figures and violence becomes the norm. The minority has made this choice. We stand firmly with democracy, with the rule of law, and with the constitutional order that has served our nation well. We will defend these principles with unwavering determination until justice prevails and democratic governance is restored. President Mahama, the choice is yours. The choice is yours. History will judge you by the decision you make regarding the Ablekuma North violence. Choose wisely, for the future of Ghana's democracy depends on it. May God bless Ghana and guide us toward a peaceful and democratic future. Thank you. Coming.
And that was Laurette Kokoasanti, the MP 481, was addressing the media there regarding the incident that happened at the Ablekuma North constituency on the 11th of July when the rerun of election was held, and she's calling on the President, John Dramani Mahama, to publicly condemn all the violence and attacks that took place. We'll definitely keep tabs on that and bring you more of that subsequently. For now, we're heading to Medina, and a devastating fire broke out at the Ritz Junction, engulfing multiple wooden structures. The inferno billowed thick smoke onto the road, causing concerns for nearby residents and commuters. While the exact cause of the fire was still unknown, or is still unknown, some residents claimed it started with a gas explosion. The Ghana National Fire Service were at the scene to combat the blaze and investigate its cause, and the fire service officers were able to douse the flames and prevent further damage. And we spoke to some of those who were affected. Okay, so we'll bring that later on Newsnight. So make sure that you join us at 7 p.m. And that's how we're wrapping up the bulletin this afternoon. Thanks for joining us. For more news, log on to our website, www.metrotvonline.com. Thanks for watching. I am Desmond Okreku. So back to Annie for the rest of the program. And Annie.
Yes, ma'am. So the minority, obviously, it's still reeling from what happened from Ablekuma North. And they think some actions have to be taken. I'm not sure what you think.
Well, of course, some action needs to be taken. I mean, if you look at some of the persons who were involved in the action, if I put it that way, last Friday, you'd realize that after what happened at Ayawaso West Wogon, there was a vigilantism act that was passed. So many of them, we saw their faces, we saw what they did.
Yeah.
They need to be prosecuted. But we also need to find a broader way of solving issues like this, because, mind you, there's going to be a by-election at Akwitia.
Right.
And you never know if such things are not sorted out now. We may see another of such happening in Akwitia. So we don't need this in our politics. The people have said that, oh, equalization, it happened here, it happened there. Everybody will find a reason to do something. So we need to find a way around it. Okay, Annie, so I've got to bring this conversation again about the 1 Ghana Cedi for levy and what exactly we're looking at. We know that was postponed, but you've got to put your microphone on so we can hear you clearly. But today is when it is officially starting. We spoke to some persons on the streets of Accra, and you heard what they said. Do you think that people really do understand, what this levy is supposed to do?
I honestly think that the holdup of the implementation was good, because, like I said earlier, remember it was taken to Parliament under the certificate of emergency, which meant that it was sort of rushed through. A few stakeholders caught a wind of it, and those who caught a wind of it later were not so sure. TUC, for example, were not particularly happy about the implementation, saying that if you're taking E-levy away, why are you bringing D-levy, and stuff like that. But I think that the space or the gap that was left helped for some more consultation and more discussion for people to, prepare their minds, no matter how small the amount is. I'm sure it's not a stopgap necessarily, but it definitely will be a restitution at some point to help us manage our energy sector debt. And we have gone out to speak with people, and obviously, out of 10 people, all 10 are for it. So if the 10 people was our sample size, we already know that even the Ghanaian people are, very susceptible.
For now, you're acting like your very good friend Musa. Annie, over to you.
We'll talk later. All right. So let's take just a quick break. We'll be back shortly to talk more about these matters.
Whether you're a wholesaler, retailer, or consumer, MNC Logistics and Trading is your trusted partner in minerals and food commodities trading. Experience the difference with MNC Logistics and Trading for your commodities trading. We operate a well-equipped laboratory that smelts and assays gold to ensure transparent, credible, and reliable minerals transactions. Our general food commodity market deals with imports and exports of food products such as rice, sugar, and grains. We pride ourselves on delivering products that meet the highest standards of quality and taste. With our expertise in international trading and logistics, we bridge customers far and wide. Locate us at number 4 Neosai Interfo Avenue, East Legon, Accra. Call us on 030-299-8246 or visit our website www.mnclogisticsandtrading.com. MNC Logistics and Trading, hub of confidence.
I'm here at Mycom JA Limited to show you the Promethean Active Panel, the ultimate tool for corporate institutions, hospitals, schools, and your home. With its crystal clear 4K display and an unbreakable screen with an ultra responsive touch technology, this isn't just a screen, it's a game changer. For corporate institutions and in schools, this active panel can be used for Zoom meetings and PowerPoint presentation. And your homes are not left behind. You can use it to watch all your favorite programs by just connecting to a Fire Stick, and you can get access to channels like Netflix and Amazon, and voila, you are in there. At Mycom JA Limited, we provide you with the best quality products from the United States of America with 1-year warranty. You can get an
no matter how far you run away, you always come back to where you started.
All you got tough guys.
Tortured, mutilated, fingers cut off.
I can lend you the money. My boss believes in giving players another chance.
You don't know what to do if you don't have the money to pay back. Come and listen to me.
Sir, it's done.
Good.
1 week, that's all you got to pay up.
You've been gambling. I can't.
Unfortunately, we're still chasing shadows. He's clearing the board to make way for something bigger.
How could you do this to us, God? Who's there? Hey!
I can fix this.
Back in the day, you tune on radio from morning, and you don't want to miss out because anybody who comes on is massive.
They say back in the day on Metro CF, Mr. BKD anyway.
Back in the day, mentioning the place that you used to live, no, that meant that you were Dadaba.
Oh, how?
Because we are the ones who went to Saito.
I wasn't really a nightclub person.
No, I mean,
the only times I went to the nightclub, Yoko Dixon took me.
Yeah.
You have a Walkman by your side. Now that was your selector. The Walkman was your selector. So when you play the first song and you want to change the song, you have to start queuing your next song through your headphone.
Hi, my name is Ivan Kwashigan. I'm the CEO of Farmhouse Productions. I'm a film director, producer. You are watching Back in the Days with Sammy B on Metro TV.
Massa, we're a guy and yes, I'm a feature. This is Back in the Day. Keep watching. Back in the day, you tune on radio from morning, and you don't want to miss out because anybody who comes on is massive.
They say back in the day on Metro CF, Mr. BKD anyway.
Back in the day, mentioning the place that you used to live, no, that meant that you were Dadaba.
Oh, how?
Because we are the ones who went to Saito.
I wasn't really a nightclub person.
No, I mean,
the only times I went to the nightclub, Yoko Dixon took me.
Yeah.
You have a Walkman by your side. Now that was your selector. The Walkman was your selector. So when you play the first song and you want to change the song, you have to start queuing your next song through your headphone.
Hi, my name is Ivan Kwashigan. I'm the CEO of Farmhouse Productions. I'm a film director, producer. You are watching Back in the Days with Sammy B on Metro TV.
Massa, we're a guy and yes, I'm a feature. This is Back in the Day. Keep watching.
Fifra ye free nyina ye de obedientia. De ya fuji ani aduane. Saasro pintin bi aseda me. De ye di koye mu ne de awie nyina na makuafo modem mo so. Won fifre so ne nya bidio. Nanso bate aseman ga na mu a. Akuafo akoya abo pupu obo wasio na so da su kache. Won san fifre ma mu nyina nya bidie. Nanso mpuntudwo mu aka akiri pa. Ekwan ben ne befa so ama akuafo fifre ho abanfa so de. Aban hyehye ne dwumadi ahodo ode bre akuafo no bo wote ase. Feed Ghana ye den. Na nkokọ ketenkete so mfa so ma akuafo so ye den. We inti na hyehye dwumadi esunkwa ya to ne akuafo mo. Ye de bre Original TV and Metro TV so. Dwumadi bebo akwanya ama mpanyimfo anim de ewa ba fukaye mu akire wadwen. Ye je akuafo ha no amane akogye mu aye e de free aba mu mpanyimfo ho. Enimi ni ehia akuafo yonko samo honto eda joada enwumre no nso kosi ne no nwotwe e Original TV so. Saanso na da yawada enwumre no nwotwe kosi no nkono e Metro TV so. Akuafo mo Ghana akuafo abomode na yempene wo.
Akuafomo is sponsored by ACAP Compost. ACAP Compost comes in 3 varieties. ACAP Compost, ACAP Compost X, ACAP Compost Plus.
Welcome to Cook Africa, straight to the Ashanti region. Hey, well, stop my mouth, boy. You go back there tonight. Even a few days ago, you were trending. You and this character went up.
Ginger, the ball knuckle. Or the ama spices, the ama salt. We beat my chance. Or the ama money. Debbie, welcome, go cake.
So my grandmother took care of me. Okay. So she actually taught me how to do this.
Anyway, I go there.
Metro TV presents a new dating reality show.
Tell me, what's the favorite part of my body, and can you describe it with a word?
Table of Love.
Do you have what it takes to make it to the table of love?
My first heartbreak. Let me tell you. So I went somewhere to sit, and I met goats chewing grass. I sat right in front of the goat, and I asked it, have you ever felt heartbroken before?
Touching, romancing, you take me there, I take you there.
If you expect me to be an angel in your life, you must first create heaven for me. Angels don't live in hell.
Many girls will say touching when you kiss me on the forehead, please. For me, when money touches my palm, I become sober.
Damn! All right, yeah, welcome back to the program. It's good afternoon, Ghana. Apologies for the long break there, but we're still back to bring you the breakdown of the issues that have been raised. We've talked about the implementation of the One Ghana City fuel levy, which is kicking off today. We've given you an idea of how Ghanaians generally feel about the implementation. If you've forgotten, I'm sure we'll bring it back to you. The producers are on standby. However, we also crossed over to Parliament. There was a live feed when the minority came through with a press conference addressing matters of Ablekuma West, and all the fallouts. But I think most importantly, or the most important part of the oppressor is the call of Malik Basintale to be removed from office as a government appointee because they've lost their chance and his chance and an opportunity to be called a statesman or to be called a government official. And so that's the press conference, which was led by the Member of Parliament for Etiwa West constituency, Madame Koko Asante, who also read the statement. We'll bring it to you later. But we've also announced to you to get into a discussion about, maybe to simply put, the unity of the African states or the African continent. How is it happening? I'm sure that you've been picking information, pockets of information from the African countries, the efforts that everybody is putting in, how they're fighting on their own. And obviously, some African countries are even afraid to throw in their support and help. I'm not going too far. I'm looking at just up Ghana, what Tuareg is doing, or Traore. I like his name, the Traore is doing. And all other African countries are trying to do. Not also far from Ghana, just Togo. You've heard the differences and the confusion that has hit the country. That small country compared to Ghana, very small, but there's still political and government confusion that has hit the country. But there's something that we call the Trans-African Tourism and Unity campaign set to take off next month. And I saw that and I thought, okay, I think maybe let's water down a bit of the tension and the pressures in the country and go outside the borders of Ghana. And let's see how we are participating with all other African countries to bring or to come to the agenda of Africa unity. And the person that's going to help us understand what's going on there is the former Honorable Member of Parliament for Kumbungo constituency, Ras Mubarak. Good afternoon.
Annie, it's good to see you.
Good to see you. Very good to see you.
Absolutely. It's been
very good. It's been a while. It's been a long while, but very good to see you. Thank you.
Doing well. We're proud of you.
Thank you very much. I'm trying. Just as you are.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm also proud of you. When I saw some videos of you coming through with reports of, I don't know, some information you had picked about African countries and what they were doing. I'm not sure what I understood the situation at the time until I saw the headline. And I'm like, okay, then we have to understand what's going on there. So tell me about those videos first. What were you doing? What are those videos about?
Okay, so the most recent one was in Kenya, where we celebrated Kenya for being the first country in Africa to fully implement a visa-free policy for all Africans, with the exception of Somalia and Libya, obviously for security reasons. And for me, that is landmark, given the fact that we are all cocooned in our small, little countries, instead of, working harmoniously and breaking down barriers. We seem not to want to speedily implement this agenda of bringing Africans together and taking down the borders. So for the last couple of months, we've thought to embark on a very historic journey of driving from Accra, Ghana, through to Togo, Benin, Cameroon, Nigeria, Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Congo DR, Namibia, etc. 39 countries in all, with a simple message, trying to meet heads of government and present to them a message of African unity and the urgent need, to implement a visa-free policy for all of Africans traveling within Africa. Now, someone would ask, how important is that? You've seen most recently how the United States of America has attempted to use, visas to rip countries in line.
Yeah.
And you've also seen a global economic meltdown where even donor funding are drying up. So as Africans, with all the natural resources and the opportunities we have, we need to work together. So the African Union has an agenda, which is Agenda 2063, that by the year 2063, every country in Africa should have been completely visa-free for all of Africans.
Fantastic.
But it's not fantastic, honey. I don't know if I'll be here till 2063, so I want that to happen now. And that is why we've taken it upon ourselves to leave our families and loved ones at home and drive through 39 African countries, meet with the media, meet presidents.
So the 33 African countries you did
39.
a road? 39.
Yes, by road.
You did a road trip?
No, so we're from the 18th of next month, we're going to embark on a 600-hour journey.
Okay.
It's going to take, 40,000 kilometers, through 39 countries in about 120 days. So we hope to be back in time enough for Christmas. So once we leave from the 18th, we're not returning to Ghana until, sometime in December.
You're leaving on the 18th of
next month, of August.
Of August. So so when the videos I saw which I first asked about, were they the foundation for this?
Yes, I mean, you would know for many years that I've been strongly being in support of the Pan-African agenda, calling myself a disciple of Kwame Nkrumah. So it is important that as young people, we would get into the business of making sure that we come together, we encourage trade, because we're not trading amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
If you look at Lagos alone, the population of Lagos is 30 million.
Yeah.
I mean, strategically, Ghana could say that, look, we want to feed Lagos with maize or yam or whatever. Nigeria could say they want to feed the whole of West Africa with sugar.
Yes.
We've got arid land, and there's an enormous opportunity to be able to do all of these things. If you take Morocco, for instance, in the north, Morocco is the biggest producer of fertilizer, on the African continent. I don't see why Africans should be picking their fertilizer from Russia or from somewhere in Brazil, etc. I mean, as much as we encourage, economic trade, we've got to look at what is in the best interest of the regional body. And in this case, there's a saying that you dance at home before you dance outside, so that you're able to test whether your dancing skills is well suited to be displayed outside. So we need to be able to feed ourselves. We need to be able to take care of ourselves. We need to be able to empower the young people, who are looking for opportunities beyond the borders of their country. And we have seen consistently how Europe and North America are tightening, the knots on people getting an opportunity to come into their country. So the time couldn't have been any better than now for Africa, a great continent blessed with all the resources, a continent that shouldn't be poor, a continent that shouldn't struggle to feed its people, a continent that literally has everything, to be able to harness the resources that we have and tear down the barriers. I mean, we're going to be driving, through the West Coast into Central Africa, then Southern Africa, East, then we'll go to North Africa before we come back to, West Africa. Take Cameroon, for instance. Cameroon is just here. We need visas to go to Cameroon. Can you believe that? It's easier for a South African to get, a visa to go to Istanbul than it is for the South African, to travel to, say, Nigeria. It's so difficult for Eastern Africans to come to the Gambia, where they are charged $120 upon arrival. I mean, but for the white man wickedly coming into our continent and drawing a line between us, we are pretty much one people. When Burkinabe speak Musi, I understand it. When I speak Dagbani, they do understand it. If you go to Togo, when the people in Aflao speak Ewe, the people in Togo understand it, and vice versa. So we are one people. And the sooner we disintegrated these vestiges of colonialism, the better for our people.
You first mentioned that in Nkrumah, and I was coming there actually, so it's good you mentioned. I was wondering if, I know this fight, maybe, I'm not too sure about that history, but tell me if I'm wrong. Did it start before Nkrumah was brought into Ghana to help us, gain independence before, or is it after he came to Ghana, then he started championing African unity?
So in terms of the Pan-African agenda, Nkrumah was clearly high up there as one of the foremost champions. you know, of the Pan-African agenda. But before Nkrumah, you had, you know, the George Padmores, you know, you had the Marcus Garvey, as a matter of fact, who envisaged a situation of returning all blacks.
That was when Nkrumah's name was actually raving on, which the leaders of the time, I don't want to mention names, said, okay, there's this son
young
of
person
ours
who
is making waves
with the Pan-African agenda. Because Nkrumah had gone abroad, you know, to the US and the UK, and has seen for himself the discrimination, you know, the xenophobia and the lack of opportunities. And it had been ingrained in him that, look, the best way for Africa to survive and for us to create more jobs for our people is for all of us to unite. You know, as one continent, strong army, solid economy. Come to think of the ECO, the West African currency. I mean, I was in secondary school when they started having discussions about the ECO. It's been more than 30 years now. We can't simply get that one thing out of the way. So you see a lot of feet dragging on the part of leadership in Africa. And we have no doubt in our minds that if we drove from Accra to, say, Kampala or to Lesotho or to Morocco and appealed to the king in Morocco or to appeal to King Mswati in, you know, Eswatini, that, look, we've got to unite, we've got to break down the barriers. They will take us seriously. Because, I mean, it's not often you don't get to find 7 crazy young men deciding that, look, we're going to drive around Africa, not for fun, but actually to champion a cause to bring Africans together, you know, and to tear down the barriers. It's going to spur the economies of African countries greatly. We'll be able to trade amongst ourselves. And I am very proud of the leading role that Ghana is playing in all of this. And I must also express our appreciation to the government of Ghana, which endorses.
Okay, yeah, so is government leading this?
No, so
or government is facilitating?
It's a private initiative
from your
endorsed
side?
From our side, from the Trans-African, you know, Tourism and Unity campaign. But we couldn't have done this without the, you know, support and endorsement of our government. And then we also are seeking to reach out to governments in other countries. So the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is facilitating some levels of meetings. We've also reached out to the African Union. We've reached out to SADC. We've reached out to the AFCT, a secretariat here in Accra, to also facilitate high-level meetings. Because we don't want to have these discussions with ministers. They don't have the final say. It is the presidents or, you know, the prime ministers and the kings, you know, where there are monarchies who have the final say on whether or not they want, you know, a visa-free policy for Africans in their country. So we want to have these meetings at the very, very highest level so that there could be some action. I mean, look at the youthful population of Africa. We have a youth bulge to the extent that if we don't harness those energies of our young people properly, they'll be out there in the streets, you know, protesting. If we don't create jobs, if we don't create opportunities, you know, before you realize you have another Arab Spring kind of situation on our hands. You know, the more freer, the more democratic Africa is, the better for Africa's development. You know, and we sincerely don't want our young people to be idling. And that is why we have decided that we're going to have to do this. There are a lot of people, you know, a senator in Nigeria contacted me. He said they are going on recess and he might want to join us, you know, along the way as we embark on this journey. I've had calls from all over the world. Last night, somebody called me from the US that when we are in Southern Africa, a Ghanaian, he wants to fly in and do the Southern Africa trip. So you should come with us, actually.
I
and experience Africa. Metro TV should send, you know, a team to join us.
Yeah.
You know, and showcase not just the economic potential, but the tourism and the culture.
So maybe, I don't know if someone is going to steal my idea, but if I say it on air, you do it. It's my idea. Let me register it.
So it's been patented.
No, exactly,
it's your idea.
Exactly. It's my idea. If I see any program after what I've said, it was stolen from here. You know Woody Meyer?
Yes.
I've watched Woody Meyer, and I admire him with tears. I love the content he produces because he's taking me to all the African countries without necessarily me going there.
Absolutely.
And it gives us a different idea, or different ideas, or it gives us information about our sister countries. So I thought, okay, Wood Maya, sometimes he gives us some critical information or content, but there's some at the part he hasn't touched yet, and I'm sure that's why, maybe it's his own reason not wanting to go there. This is my field. I'm more political, more current affairs. So why not also look at a different side of that type of content in African countries, but definitely a little different from Wood Myers, and I don't want to mention exactly
political situations,
exactly,
etc.
you know, but still with African countries, because we're so dominated and intoxicated with the Western countries, and we've forgotten that we have so much.
We've got to break free.
We have to.
We have to break free because
when the notice of the visa ban threats came in from the US, I didn't know if I should laugh or cry or it's much ado about nothing.
And for me, it's a unique opportunity.
Yes.
I mean, I had sent my passport to be renewed. My 5 years had expired in January. When the passport came back, it was 3 months single entry. Then I said to myself, okay, I wouldn't even go. I would not even go. All right? This is a place to be. Africa has everything. If it is scenery you want to see, it is Africa. If it is beaches, so long as we can keep the beaches cleaner. I mean, look at our beaches are an eyesore. You know, so long as we can keep them pristine. Africa is beautiful.
We just have to find a silver lining in all this.
I mean, look at the Volta region. Look at how beautiful it is.
That's my favorite region.
You've got to take a drive to the Volta region to appreciate the beauty of our country, and go to the eastern region, the lush nature, the forest nature of the eastern region. You know, and these are the things we need to be marketing. A couple of years ago, I was in Kintampo, right? Yeah. And you know what I saw in Kintampo? Okay. A mango tree planted by Kwame Nkrumah in Kintampo, still bearing fruits.
Oh.
Yes, missed opportunity. We're not marketing it enough. You know, so there are many such things, not just in Ghana, but in Togo and Benin and, you know, Botswana and Zambia and Namibia. I mean, look at how beautiful Namibia is. A country where you see the deserts on one side and the ocean, the sea on the other side, where the sea meets the desert. Absolutely, beautiful. You know, so there's got to be a lot more in promoting tourism and showcasing what we have by way of food, by way of culture, by way of art, etc. So that we don't get bullied. Somebody wakes up on the wrong side of the bed and they feel they've got to issue an executive order to ban us from coming into their country.
Yeah.
Robert Mugabe said, keep your Britain, let me keep my Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
We want to encourage global trade, right? Ghana clearly benefits from trading with the US, and the US benefits from trading with us. The trade between us is worth over $2 billion.
You see, the part that is the part that makes the US bully unfair is the reciprocity captured in our agreements of diplomacy.
No, because we're not playing hardball. We're not negotiating enough.
So we should also give them one entry, 2 months.
They need us more than we do. I mean, and I say this as a man who has seen 85 countries around the world. All right? And I see the potential for Africa to be high up there, unmatched, whether it's the human resources, the natural resources, etc. Look at the Congo. Look at how much resources the Congo has. But the Congo has one of the most terrible roads in Africa. And you know why? They come in, they pitch our heads together, they throw some, money here and there, before we realize we're up against each other, instead of putting national interest above partisan interest. And I'd use this opportunity to appeal to all of our young men and women, whether you belong to Party A or Party B. The country is supreme. The interest of Ghana should be what should be high and above any other consideration, above religious consideration, above tribal consideration, above party consideration. Now, if we think like this as Africans, Annie, nobody would queue to want to go to the UK or the US to go and study or to work or do something else.
Okay, so you see the political and governance difficulties with the various individual African countries that are all independent on their own. It sort of serves as a challenge of us looking forward to It's 2063?
2063 is too far away for the young man who's just finished Legon or UDS or University of Kampala, who's looking for an opportunity, and maybe opportunities in his country are limited and he wants to explore opportunities elsewhere. And Africa is abound with opportunities. You go everywhere in Africa, whether it's the south of Africa, the east of Africa, the north, or the west, opportunities are abound. And so let's break down those barriers. Let's ease the restrictions of our own people. These are our kith and kin. Why must a Southern African national wanting to come to West Africa require a visa before he comes here? Why must we require to get visas before we go to Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Cameroon, and elsewhere? We are one people. And if others have seen the benefit of tearing down barriers and easing restrictions on travel, we would be the winners if we were to take the bold decisions like the one the Kenyans have taken.
Yeah, but my question is will it be that easy?
It should be easy.
Consider
where there is a will, there is a way.
Like Egypt.
Yes.
Egypt already sees themselves as they're not Africans.
No, that is not entirely correct. So in every country, as they say, if you be a mensa womb, Egypt is an integral part of Africa, all right? And you may have bad nuts who don't see themselves as being African, but we are one people. We need to keep the continent together. We need to rise above those political differences. The thing is, Annie, we stand at a point in history where if we don't rise to the occasion, if we don't live up to the expectations of our young people, one day we would all wake up and there would be no democracy anywhere else. And you're beginning to see signs of some of these protests, of some of these anxiety, of some of these, difficulties that young people are facing. If you have a huge youthful population, what do you do with that? You harness those energies. You create the opportunities for them to be able to move freely to access opportunities elsewhere. I've told you how high up there Morocco is with, agriculture. We should be talking to Morocco the more, all right, on fertilizers and even having them set up here. We should be having conversations with the governor of Lagos and say, look, Ghana, we can produce X amount of cereal for Lagos. You're looking at a population of over 30 million. That's a huge market. And with Africa's, size and resources, we have no excuse as a continent not to get it right.
Sorry. I want to make reference to some pointers before I wrap up. Okay, so in the script I was reading, it said Accra, Ghana, the Trans-African Tourism and Unity Campaign led by Ras Mubarak is set to kick off on August 18, embarking on the monumental journey through 38 African countries, by the way, 38 African countries.
So it's 30, Ghana included, it's 39, but because we're driving out of
from
Ghana,
so it's 38 in counting. Endorsed by Government of Ghana through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the initiative aims to promote African unity and advocate a visa-free policy for Africans, according to the press release. So the the release said, will traverse the following countries. So Togo, Benin, Nigeria, Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Congo, DRC, Angola, Zambia, Botswana, South Africa, Lesotho, Eswatini. Eswatini is
Eswatini. That's where King Mswati.
Their king came here. So they are the ones.
It used to be called Swaziland.
Yes, Swaziland. So the Swatini kid. What I want to ask about, he's the one marrying 50 wives now.
I think it's either 15 or 17.
He has 17 now.
15 or 17.
The officials he came with, they are saying that they are even too small. They should add some.
Well, I mean,
they will marry foreign wives. They marry from other.
Are you thinking about?
I'm just asking. I'm asking for a sister.
You could come with us and find out for yourself.
And see if, are you able to throw yourself at the king? As a king, I'm available.
But that's the beauty of Africa. Our continent is so diverse.
Very flexible.
Very flexible.
Right.
Okay.
Are you sure you're very flexible? Because you're not flexible to LGBT.
Yes, so I mean, that's the thing. As an African continent, we've got our culture, we've got our values.
Okay.
Do you know that you can go to jail in Europe or America for being polygamous?
Yes.
You know that?
Yes.
So they don't accept that.
Yeah.
why must we accept
Yes.
their
Okay.
ways of living? As
Okay.
Africans, we've got to promote what we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Eswatini, I'm sure you're very keen on coming with us to Eswatini.
It's Eswatini. We have Mozambique. We have Zimbabwe. We have Malawi. How's Zimbabwe's economy doing?
Picking up a few challenges here and there.
What's the inflation rate now? I
don't
haven't
have
checked
it,
the last time I
off
checked.
the top
Okay,
of my
I can
head.
make reference.
Manangwagwa is, even though fairly from the old folk, fairly doing well. There are a couple of MPs there who are younger. And we need to see more and more young people in governance as
I
well.
want to believe that's a wind that's blowing now.
It's
on
been
the
long
African
overdue.
continent.
But it's always been like
Continent.
that. It's always been like that. President Kufuor was, 36 when he became a deputy foreign minister? I mean, you look at the current crop of ministers and CEOs in this current administration. You can look at President Mills's administration, Rawlins's administration, young people. You can look at Nkrumah's administration. It wasn't people in their 50s and 60s
Yeah.
who were running the country when Nkrumah was in government. So what it tells you is that, and if you can even look at it from a biblical context. I mean, Christ was a young man, when he was preaching the gospel. So if a country really wants to, move forward, it can't do away with the energies and creativity of young people. And the thing with youth is that what they may not have in experience, they make up for in energy, in creativity. And that is what countries need the most currently, creative minds who can be able to help turn around their economies.
Okay. So we have Malawi, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, Namibia, Central African Republic, Chad, Niger, Algeria, Morocco, Mauritania, Senegal, Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, and of course Ghana, which is the what's it called?
The start and finish
the
point.
starting point. All right, so that makes it 39. Okay, so what exactly are we hoping to achieve? It's a road trip, but we're definitely going to be in contact with the governments of these countries.
We
What will
have
be the
sought
end results?
audience with the heads of government in all of these countries through the African Union, through ECOWAS, through SADC, to facilitate these meetings. And the reason we want to have these heads of government, either the presidents or the vice presidents or prime ministers or their deputies, is for the simple reason that the decision has to be high up there. If the president wants it to be done, it would be done, irrespective of who, what the technocrats or, the people
And are we
would
sending
say.
petitions to them?
Yes, we're presenting letters and making a strong case for Africa to unite and to create opportunities for our people.
Yeah.
So the hashtag is Open Africa, Open Opportunities.
Oh, that's nice. Open Africa.
Open opportunities. Because if Africa is open, people in Ghana can travel to everywhere in Africa and look for opportunities. People elsewhere in Africa can go to different parts of the continent and look for opportunities. I mean, look at how much others in different continents are even charging us in visa fees.
Yeah.
And the disrespect,
Yeah.
to our people. All right? And so if we're seeing all of these things and year in, year out, we're not taking the bold decisions to get things done, then clearly something is amiss.
Do we have some special vehicles? Because I know that these trips, those who make the road trips.
So you need a 4x4.
Are very, they're
I mean,
very
if you look
particular
at-
about the vehicles
If
they
you look
use.
at, the terrain in the Congo,
the
in
landmark.
Angola, in, Congo DR, terrible roads, in spite of all the resources. Again, if you look at Liberia, the roads are terrible in Liberia as well. And so you've got all sort of terrain.
Okay.
If you go to Southern Africa, the roads are beautiful and smooth and sweet. From here to, say, Nigeria, beautiful road, right? But you also have a situation where you'd go through the Sahara.
Wait, you have an idea how the terrain, the road, or the topography?
Yes, we have.
The topographic map.
Yes.
Do you have an idea
Yes,
how it
yes,
looks
we
like?
have. We know there may be difficulties in some parts
Okay.
of, especially in Central Africa. The roads in Central Africa are very, very bad. But I mean, we're not bothered by that. People died to get us independence.
Yeah.
Nkrumah put his life on the line to push a pan-African agenda. people lost their lives. Sergeant Ajete Nko were shot just for protesting.
So as you sit here, do you feel like this is a high risk you're taking? You're likely to die on the road?
No. So as a Muslim, I sincerely believe that death would come when it wants to come.
Okay.
You could even be in the comfort. Look at the Indian flight that crashed into a building.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people were in a school, but the plane crashed there. Who would have thought that the plane would fall off and then land on a building? So death would come when death wants to come.
Okay.
But that should not dissuade or stop us from living.
From moving.
The most important thing is other peoples have sacrificed their lives to give us this continent called Africa. People beaten, people maimed, you know, people dying just for independence. The least my generation, Annie, your generation, and the people behind us and a little above us could do would be to make sacrifices for this great continent to unite and to be prosperous.
So if anyone, how many are you on the team?
We're 8 currently on the team. And interestingly, one of your sister stations wants to send a crew to follow us to document everything. And that is why I'm telling you, you can't be left out. Metro TV has to give you...
We have to, you know, send a crew.
I mean, look at the content, what you could gather and how long it could last. You could have news, you could have, you know...
I mean, it's a historic content.
You could have everything.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody could even be doing something just on the food in 39 African countries. That alone is a program for 2 or 3 seasons.
You're going for how many days again?
We're going for 120 days.
Oh, that's a...
Well, that's a lot.
Oh, that's fairly okay, 120 days.
So, I mean, the beauty of it also is that you can hop in and hop off. I've got guys who've called me and said, look, I wouldn't be able to start with you.
But I can join you here.
I can join you here. And then I would run to do some business and come back. So this is something you could...
So can ordinary Ghanaians who want to join also join in, or you are...
So the disadvantage with long convoys is that it slows you down.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if somebody wants to ease themselves, the convoy has to stop.
The bigger the team, the more the challenges.
The larger the convoy, the more the challenges. So we want to keep it as simple and small as possible, also because of our logistical challenges.
Okay. So it's Open Africa, Open Market.
Open Africa, Open Opportunities.
Open Opportunities. Open Africa, Open Opportunities. Ras Mubarak is leading the team. It's a Trans-African Tourism Unity Campaign, and he's the one leading it. Do we have other people from other African countries who are on your team?
As I said, there's a senator from Nigeria who wants to join us. There are others who want to do regional tours.
Okay.
So there's a group in Sierra Leone who want to join us for the West Africa leg.
Okay.
We've been contacted by some folk from East Africa as well who want to do just the Eastern Africa bit of the travel. I mean, it's going to be sweet, it's going to be exciting.
Okay.
And we've taken security into consideration. So, for instance, we're not driving at night.
Okay.
You know.
Right, so I want to ask you one last question before you go. But if the team can help me, let me take a quick breather. I'll come back. I want to ask you a very simple question about Ablekuma North, because you have been in that constituency before.
Absolutely.
So I'll ask you before you sign off. Let me just take a quick breather. I'll be back shortly.
And Supply is your trusted partner, providing seamless solutions for all your procurement needs. From sourcing products to managing imports and exports, we ensure smooth and efficient transactions every step of the way. Whether you require goods from across the globe or need assistance in exporting your products to international markets, we got you covered. General trading is at the heart of our expertise. We specialize in a wide range of products, catering to various industries and markets. As a trusted dealership in building materials, we provide high-quality products that meet the demands of our construction projects. Additionally, we act as manufacturers' representatives, connecting producers with distributors. Our expertise in logistics is the backbone of our operations. We plan and execute transportation and delivery of goods, ensuring they reach their destination on time and in optimal condition. MGO Logistics and Supply, guaranteed satisfaction.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
All right, you're welcome back to the program. I'm still here with Ras Mubarak. I deliberately took the break so that I can distinguish between what was spoken about earlier and what I'm coming to ask him, because it has to do with Ablekuma. Just in case you do not know much history or the political history of Honorable Ras Mubarak, he's also an active politician, a very active one, except for the fact that now he has toned down. So if you don't know, you think that this man is diplomatic. He's not diplomatic, Bia. He's actually very political. Ras, you are you are, I think, the one that had the highest votes in Ablekuma North during your time. About 34,534. Something.
534. Wow. That record hasn't been broken yet.
Right.
You know,
that record
it hasn't been broken by. It has not been broken yet.
And we, the children, we are here fighting ourselves. We can't break the record.
Any candidate of the NDC. I mean, I would have wished that from 2012, 2016, 2020, 24, would have been doing 50,000 votes.
Okay.
But it doesn't downplay the fact that we have won Ablekuma North for the first time since 1992.
Yes.
You know, and for me, that gladdens my heart, you know, looking at how long the MPP has held the Ablekuma North seat and the challenges in Ablekuma North. So I commend Irabna Oben highly and his executives.
Did you have issues of possible rigging, suspicion of rigging activities when you were there?
Yeah, so I mean, it was, you know, it was widespread. In Joe Appiah, the former MP, Joe Appiah's residence, for instance, at one point we caught him registering about 34 people as residents in his house. You know, 34 people living in a 5-bedroom house. You know, so these issues played out a lot, and I think that is what the constituency has built on. Election after election, making sure that they eliminate incidences of stealing within the constituency. And I'm so happy, I was so excited knowing that the fight we fought has actually yielded sweet fruits, and the NDC has won it. The incidences that had, you know, that characterized the by-elections were quite unfortunate, you know, and I hope that people would look at the leader of our country, his demeanor. What is he seeking to achieve? He's seeking to reset the country on a different path. That path does not include thuggery. That path does not include violence at the polls. That path does not include, you know, busing macho men to come to the police station, you know, to misbehave. And I find it most unfortunate that our friends from the other side would want to score political points with Ablekuma North, you know, judging by the things that had happened during their tenure. As a country, we need to rise above all of these things. You know, we need to be able to go into an election, come out of the election without people getting, you know, pepper sprayed or head battered, as we had seen in Ablekuma North. So it's an appeal we're making to the youth. The president is on a different wavelength.
So I wanted you to pick on what the minority did. The press conference they just held, and is calling for the head of Malik Basintale because
on what grounds?
He's the one on record having organized 5K men, 3K women to Ablekuma North And apparently the allegations from the minority side or the MPP is that he sort of whipped the
So you see, the MPP hasn't recovered from the electoral loss. If I were to advise the MPP, I would say even keep quiet for the next 1 year and reorganize yourselves. Because the more you even speak or talk, the more you make people angry. I mean, we've seen some of the worst things that have happened in our history under the MPP administration. They do not even understand what 5K men, 3K women means. It means the rank and file should gear up, and canvass for votes. That's what it means. It doesn't mean, 5,000 men should go up, go out there and beat up people, etc. But in any case, if you're speaking about beating up people, who instigated all of these things? It was Howard Kumsin who used an offensive weapon in an electoral area, an area designated as a polling station. So that in itself is one crime or the other. Whether she has license or authorization to even have the pepper spray is another thing we can go into. But I'm saying when a car made, when a tea made, this one did that, that one did that. Enough of the excesses.
Yeah, but you not think, at the time in 2013, you were appointed by His Excellency as National Youth Coordinator.
Yeah.
Do you not think that maybe in those days you were youthful, so you probably would appreciate where Malik is coming from? Do you not think that learning from hindsight, the youth should tone down a bit? Because,
I'm not sure Malik
you're
has...
campaigning and you say, if the NPP does care, we will do keke. That's like a way of threatening or inciting. I can understand that you say you move as a reaction, but is there a language that should be encouraged?
But I mean, it's certainly, so in terms of who has set this tone, remember what President Akufo-Addo said? We all have two balls. So in terms of bad language that incites the public, it started from the MPP. It didn't start from the NDC, But given where we want to go as a country, Ghana is highly respected out there. I think some of these things should be nipped in the bud. I think they should be a thing of the past. I think we should be able to transcend these things and go into a by-election. People should be able to go and vote freely. But you see, a lot of these things also happen because young folks are hangers-on. They need food. They need no curfew. And so if some wayward politician comes to throw some crumbs on the table, they dash to catch it. And that is why we need to be able to, as a country and a continent, build and create sustainable jobs for young people. You have your job here at Metro. I'm not sure you would. I'm saying you have a job here at Metro.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you would want to go.
No one can throw crumbs at me.
Absolutely.
Or maybe you can. You never know.
No.
You never know, because I have seen videos of last year when the allegations of murder happened in Kaswa. I've seen videos of people who threatened the victim today, who is Howard Kumsin, and said, it's only a matter of time. We will deal with you. Well, I mean, they said all kinds of words. So it played out, in my opinion, from watching those videos, it played out in Ablekume North. There were a lot of officials from the NPP and the NDC hanging together. They were hanging out together, chatting and laughing. Kennedy Japan met your deputy, is it youth organizer? Mustafa Bande, and they were in a frenzy. Beautiful scene. The Blue Army and the Malik 5K men met, and it was beautiful. Nobody hit anyone.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
So why Howard Kumsin?
Well, what has happened is unfortunate, but it pales in comparison. It pales in comparison to what Howard Kumsin herself, visited on innocent victims in her constituency. It pales in comparison to once upon a time in our country, people were brazen enough, they were courageous enough to walk into a courtroom and disrupt a court process, Annie. I mean, that's how lowly we got as a country, that people could be crazy simply because their party is in power to disrupt a court process, and nothing has happened. Once upon a time, at the seat of the president, the presidency, people could, beat up and threw away, a senior police officer in uniform out of his car. And you see, some of these things fed into the indiscipline and the disrespect to men and women in uniform. Every now and then you see some trotro driver wanting to punch a police officer. There's so much indiscipline in the country. And these things should not be happening.
Right.
If we want a country where tourists would come in, where the investor community would have a lot of confidence in our country, then we need to look at a bigger picture. And what is a bigger picture? A country that thrives on the rule of law, a country that does not, encourage these kinds of things. And, politicians, the wayward ones amongst us would always want to take advantage and use young people who are unemployed to, execute some of these things. It's quite unfortunate, but I believe this would have been the very last time we are seeing such a situation at a polling station.
Right.
But don't forget, you see, we don't seem to look ahead in the future as a country. If you recall when Emmanuel Ejako died, I suggested that given the nature of the way we go into by-elections, because by-elections are such that when they do happen, everybody is there. It's not like a general election where everybody is busy in their constituency. So
focus on attention and numbers. Like we said in the earlier discussion, the larger the number, the more the challenges.
Absolutely. So I said, look, if it's an MPP stronghold, come on, let an MPP person go. If it's an NDC stronghold, the MPP should let an NDC person go. If it is, however, a swing seat or where the results are closely contested, then obviously everybody can contest.
But there should be more restrictions.
So that you save the resources, you save the country resources, so that you save us from the heartache and from the pressure and from setting up investigative committees to look into who did what is a waste of time. When there are criminals out there that, where the attention of the law enforcement agencies should be on.
Right.
So it's a conversation we need to have.
Yeah.
The fact that the Constitution says you should have a by-election does not mean in practice or in principle parties can decide we wouldn't field the candidate. Why? Did we not do it in Ejuso? So if we had done it in Ejuso, what shows that we can't do it in a subsequent by-election? I mean, we've got to be forward-thinking. We've got to look into the future and see the things that we can do as a country that would portend very well for us instead of being reactionary, instead of wanting to go into every election that ultimately results in violence and chaos.
Yeah.
Look, I can bet you, if you're not careful, we'll go full circle, another by-election will come, it will be the same story. We'll come and sit in the studios and talk about it. At the end of the day, zero action.
Well, we have a Akwatia to look out for. So let's see how that is also played out. But that means that it puts a lot of pressure on the security to weigh the pressure on by-elections.
And even people leaving their constituencies to go en masse to go into other places.
Yeah.
It's only in Africa that I see these things.
What are you doing there?
What are you doing there? It's not your constituency. You don't vote.
Yeah.
So once campaigning finishes, obviously if it's campaign time, everybody should go and campaign. You are not, a polling agent. You are not an observer. Election day, polling day, what are you going to do there?
Yeah.
So it is all of these things. The parties should be able to, look at the bigger picture, talk to their supporters, so that we save our country of the headache of having to talk on end after every by-election.
The former honorable member for Kumbungu constituency and also the leader for the Trans-African Tourism and Unity campaign, which starts next month. That's the 18th of August. And he says 120 days is what you're going to spend on the road. So if you're interested, I'm sure if anybody is interested,
you can send us an email. The email address is Trans-African Tourism, African Tourism at gmail.com.
Oh, okay. Trans-African Tourism at gmail.com. Okay.
We can take the discussion from there. And,
okay.
I'm really looking forward to seeing you on the journey.
On the trip. Let's see.
We'll have a lot of tales to tell.
We will definitely. Ras, I'm grateful that
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much for your time. Okay, so we'll take another breather quickly, and then when we come back, we'll focus on the energy sector. Today, we're paying one more cedi at the pump. That's because government wants to generate revenue in taking care of the energy sector levy or debt that has become an albatross around our necks. I'm not sure how long this is going to take us because we want to see the end game. Is the one levy going to continue forever, or we have something more heavy coming through to safeguard the country? We'll be back shortly. We will speak with Chris, who has joined us Benjamin Insia has joined us via Zoom. He's Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy. He's a member of the team. I'll be back shortly.
I watch my drop of phone at 12 city no. As I say, a second Pesabia or Robogana, second of my phone, another baby or Dana. What I say, Command at the 70 city now, Nakabi or the size canatity. But I answer some a good idea. What I say, past government, also be a no moon dians and into the Sakana, ever down into the oil in the good. On quite the tribunal, Quasilagan and Owen was when first to quite good. And Sabia war Genesis one fine year, the next time voting time the Boon Sabia, I should be quite so very faster.
You make be funny. Ada government in Baba, electricity be got me here. Let the government Baba, electricity be got me here. I can't have me, Shika. I can't have me. Me, Pam and Fight. Shika, your mamma. I mean, mommy. Legal connection, your mommy, a fadiente. Nishikana Metawa and Banner. Onupa ni family me come legal connection son yo amehia no ka ga one city ba no wo hiafo ye bedane apin eganye ga all the time nye be shika nye be gone na ga task force bi na woli ame mini ja me no tumo your office here na pay ame be fan be.
The one city is okay because that debt will collapse the economy if we don't do anything about it. So for me personally it's okay. And it will help the country.
Edia senka omoya anka problem bi anim. Se ebebo man nko ade yeni problem. Na se ohwe na se emmebo man ne de ene de ebe difficult amaye. Na se ede edum so ne to betwa na di mpuntu djuma ba man no ma yeni problem. E right say ochi because se to but nyina wo matwam. Nti se one cities no so mo ochi a enka ne problem. Any tobut way ni esi kwa it's omoji omoya right
to ya ne sa e beboa if say light off na no odin say yentimi na dem ye dem ne o manyina asai o da wa na light ne off na aso na ekọ na aba na ekọ na aba nti ya ne sa e beboa mama de waka na obeye amaye ye wogidi woni mu say bibi ode na no beka bia wotimi ye eti e bompa ya sere.
All right, you're welcome back to the studio. And gone by were some voices of Ghanaians responding and reacting to the one Ghana cedi fuel levy kick-starting today and their opinion about it. You know that as a country, we've always had a challenge about the implementation of taxes and the purposes for which we want to generate the funds for. But the question has always been, are we going to use the funds for what we said we're going to use it for? I think when you're able to do that, Ghanaians are more susceptible to taxation. So we're hoping that the government will go by its word because no matter what we do, it's kickstarting today. Benjamin Insia is Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy member. He joined us via Zoom for a conversation. Benjamin, thank you for your time and you're welcome to Good Afternoon, Ghana. Hello, Benjamin. Hello. Can you hear me? Okay, sorry, if you can unmute. I think that you are muted, so if you can unmute. Hello, Benji. Hello. Okay, I have a bit of some struggle. There, Benjamin Insia is speaking to us on the development that we have that has to do with the one Ghana fuel levy that is, being implemented today, and Ghanaians are supposed to expect a one Ghana increase at the pump. At every gallon you're paying about 4 Ghana cedis. But well, some Ghanaians, TUC has actually given us a statement about it that they think that is going to make it difficult for Ghanaians. But let's see if the implementation will be effective and will help us achieve what we have to achieve. Benjamin Insia is a member of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy. Let's try again and see if we can have him. Benjamin, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Okay, can you raise your voice a bit so that we can hear you? All right. So the implementation of the 1 Ghana cedi levy. Firstly, let me find out from you if you have any reason why, after the passage in Parliament, government stalled the implementation a bit until today.
Yes, I think that government thought it wise earlier that prices were a bit higher then. If they had implemented it, price of petroleum products will cross 15 Ghana cedis to almost 16 Ghana cedis per liter. So they waited for price on the international market to decline a bit before they introduced it. And I think that prices have plummeted a bit on the international market, so favorable to government.
Hello, Benji.
Introducing it at this time.
I'm sorry, but I think you should position yourself properly.
Hello?
Yes, okay. You're audible now. Can you go ahead?
So as I was saying, I think that government delayed the introduction because of one, price hikes on the international market. And the government thought it wise that if it had introduced it earlier, prices would have crossed 15 Ghana cedis to almost 16 Ghana cedis per liter. So government waited for prices to plummet on the international market before introducing it, even though prices had crossed or will be crossing 14 Ghana cedis per liter for diesel in this particular window. But if you had to introduce earlier, government would have seen prices surge up to 15 Ghana cedis per liter.
So that's the reason why we had to wait for the implementation today. What difference does it make anyway?
Yes, so the difference is how consumers will take it, because if the assumption or the argument earlier was that prices were somewhere around 15 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos in January this year, and by May prices had declined to about 13 Ghana cedis or maybe 12 Ghana cedis depending on the product.
Yeah.
And for that matter, the consumer surplus should be shared between government and then the consumer. If government had introduced it earlier, it means that prices would have crossed the 15 Ghana cedi argument that government had made earlier in terms of bringing this particular levy. So government being so wise and very careful, they ought to have waited for prices to decline on the international market so that prices will be set, but will not be up to the 15 Ghana cedis they picked from in January, so that the argument of consumer surplus will continue to stay, even though at this time consumer surplus had dwindled by about 1 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos.
Yeah, but are we always going to have consumer surpluses? We can't have windfall benefits all the time. So what is the most effective way of going about this? If we do this implementation, we don't have the period for how long we're going to be collecting this for. Government hasn't provided that yet. We don't know when it's ending. So if we're benefiting from consumer surplus, will it continue always? And if it doesn't, what else can we do? If your prices decide to shoot up or catapult, what exactly is going to happen?
So that is why we at SEMSE propose that we need a dual pricing model within the whole petroleum sector, as well as even in relation to the petroleum upstream, where we think that when prices are surging on the international market, it means that Ghana is likely going to get a lot of revenue, because when prices surge and even constant output, revenue expectations also increase. And when these revenue expectations are increasing on the international market, we could use that windfall from our petroleum receipt to support the downstream, thereby decreasing prices at the downstream level or the export prices, which we may call subsidies a bit or some sort of. And also, when in future prices begin to plummet on the international market, which means that our petroleum revenue or petroleum receipts in the upstream may likely not meet expectation, then we begin to hike the downstream prices a bit to cushion government revenue potential. So it balances it, because for this one, as indicated earlier, there's no sunset clause. So we don't know when we'll assume or conclude the payment of these levies or procuring of fuel. And because there's no sunset clause, it means that it's going to stay in forever until government decides that we are going to take it off. And this is law. Government cannot just sit one day and just say, we are not collecting this levy. It must go through a parliamentary process before the act is amended, and then after amendment, the government. So I think that the trial pricing model in future is something that as a country we need to critically look at, so that it takes care of the upstream as well as taking care of the downstream when prices escalate or when prices plummet locally. But as you indicated, with respect to when we are going to stop paying this particular levy depends on the government's ability to defray most of the debt in the power sector. If at the point in time, government thinks that we've defrayed a lot of debt and we just need some minimum liquidity to procure certain fuel, I think that government may take it off. But from history, anytime government introduces a levy on the price build-up, it comes to stay because government sees that as another way of mobilizing revenue for national budget reconciliation or certain priority projects. So I think this levy is likely going to be on it forever. But if it also happens that way, then Ghana is one of the countries, even the country that prices is or does tax its petroleum products most. Because as you're speaking, if you take some of the products, some of the OMCs and their products, we are taxing about 36% on petroleum products, which is higher. In America, that's about 20 to 18%. So why should a country like Ghana be taxing 35, almost 40% sometimes on their petroleum product? I think it's unfair to the end user.
So the sunset clause, I mean, you've said something that's quite it's triggering me a bit. It can't be forever. What does that mean? That this will last forever? Is it supposed to, cushion the energy sector once the debt is cleared so that it just becomes maybe another sort of vehicle like ESLA? Of course, this is ESLA. So maybe for you, the experts in the sector, will it be a reasonable and logical thing to do to keep a sunset clause opened?
From the economic perspective, I think it doesn't make any economic sense. It doesn't make any rational choice sense. But as politicians, we do it in a way. And I'm telling you that I'm saying it because if you look at the history of putting levies on the petroleum products, we started in 2004, toll debt recovery levy. From 2004 till date, the levy is still on the price, on the build-up. So, and today, toll is even telling us that they are in debt of about, or liabilities of about $518 billion. So government will always have a plan to justify the collection of these levies. In 2014, we introduced what we call the special petroleum tax by Honorable Setepe. And when he introduced it, it was a VAT, which is 17.5% of ex-depot. And he introduced it specifically or purposely to balance the budget in 2015, because at that time, price of the petroleum products were declining on the international market, and we wouldn't be able to meet our revenue projection in 2015. So Honorable Setepe introduced that in November 2014. Still, that is still on it, even though it has now changed to 46 pesos per liter on the price builder due to the amendment of that particular 879. And in 2015, we introduced ESLA. ESLA, we've increased ESLA. For example, in 2015, the original Act 899, ESLA was, energy recovery levy was 41 pesos per liter. In 2019, we increased it to 49 pesos per liter. Road fund was 40, we increased it to 48. In 2021, we added other levies on the build-up. And in 2025, we are adding another levy on the build-up. So government will always have a justification for introducing certain levies on the price build-up. But the time has come for us to ensure efficiency in the management of government revenue. If you're able to ensure efficiency in the management of some of these revenues, I think that there will not be need to introduce any levy on the price build-up. And truly, even in 2015, there was a sunset clause of about 3 to 5 years. This amendment, 1135, doesn't have a sunset clause. So it's likely going to be in perpetuity until government decides that, okay, maybe I'm able to defray my debt, so I'll take it out. But knowing government well from historical perspective, I think that government will always have a justification for putting taxes on this particular product until maybe prices on the international market begins to escalate to certain levels that consumers will agitate for government to pull out or push out some of these taxes on the build-up. And even historically in 2022, when price of the product even surged up to almost 23 pesos per liter for diesel, government still did not even consider taking out the taxes, because government always believes that the taxes are for certain purposes in the industry. But unfortunately for us, you see, the management and utilization of these levies are also something that we need to critically really look at as a country. Because if you look at the petroleum price build up today, anytime you procure fuel, you are paying 4 Ghana cedis, 25 pesos per liter for diesel. You are paying 4 Ghana cedis, 27 pesos per liter for petrol. Within the build up, there are issues of boss margin that I think that as a country, we need to critically look at it, because boss is not even serving the strategic purpose that it's serving. It's not a commercial entity. So why should Ghanaians be paying for commercial operations of boss? 2, we call something primary distribution margin. The primary distribution margin is an interdepot margin, 23 pesos per liter. As we speak, 90% of the products sold in Ghana are imported by private VDCs, and these private VDCs, for somewhat, uses the Unified Petroleum Price Fund to cut products across the country. Boss does only primary distribution of about 5% of the product in stores. Yet we are paying 23 pesos per liter, which is in revenue terms, we realize about 1.2 or almost 1.3 billion annually. So there's a lot of inefficiency, lack of accountability, too much lack of transparency in the whole build-up. And we begin to be very accountable, very transparent and very responsible in managing the revenues of the build-up. I don't think we may need additional D-levy and other D-levies that may come in future.
So, you said a lot, but in your opinion, maybe briefly, what do you think will be the best to go? If he has a sunset clause, we know how long we want to, be able to rake in, but we have the estimates of how much we will get from this every year. If we don't have the sunset clause, we can still have it as a buffer, maybe within the energy sector. We know that the energy sector mix is also being worked on, what government says it will do. In fact, government says that it has started installation of about 23,500 units of solar street lights. So obviously the mix is coming on, so it will reduce the pressure of what we already have. So what exactly do you think must be done? Should we have the sunset clause, or we should just ignore to have the buffer?
I think beyond the sunset clause, I think we need to bring it. We need to relook at the act again, 1135, and maybe introduce a sunset clause.
Why?
Because
why do we necessarily need it?
We need it because it helps us to be able to plan well for defraying the debt. So if you know that in 5 years you are expected to defray the debt, and each year you are expecting about 5.7 billion Ghana cedis from only the 1 Ghana cedis, because if you add the 1 Ghana cedis to the 95 pesos, you are expecting the excess of 10 billion Ghana cedis. So from only the 1 Ghana cedi, you are expecting 5.7 billion. Then you know that in 4 or 5 years, I must utilize the 5.7 billion efficiently and well to defray my debt and take off the levy from the build-up. So it helps us in planning. It helps us to be very responsible in the utilization of this particular revenue, because there are instances where you take the Energy Sector Levy Act reports of the various, because Section 6 of 899 mentions that periodically there must be a report. If you take some of these reports and see how we utilize the money, we just mismanage the money and underutilize or inefficiently utilize the revenues. But when there's a sunset clause, there's a plan, and you want to achieve that particular plan. So efficient management, prudent management of revenue will be something you do to ensure that by then you are done paying this particular debt. Now, beyond the sunset clause, I also think that in the amendment of the Act, we need to introduce quarterly bulletin of the revenue that we realize from this D-levy or any of the energy sector shortfall and debt repayment levy. On the quarterly basis, we need to make sure, make certain publications or publications on the revenue that we've realized and how we've utilized them. For example, they make mention of maybe procuring fuel. So in the first quarter, maybe we made this revenue, and based on the revenue we've made, we procure this particular fuel, or maybe use this amount within the revenue made in the first quarter to defray this debt. It helps CSOs and the media to be able to track the performance of these levies and how they've been utilized efficiently. So sunset clause and quarterly briefing of the Ghanaian about this revenue performance and their utilization will also help us to promote accountability and transparency with respect to the management of some of these extra revenues.
Quarterly review of revenue generation.
Yeah, quarterly publications of revenues made from this D-levy or any of the energy sector shortfalls and debt repayment levy. After quarterly pronouncements on them, what I also think we need to do is that the utilization of them. where did we utilize, which companies benefited from this revenue, so that we could be able to track the performance of this revenue, as well as maybe encourage government to efficiently and use it.
Right. Benjamin, I think we'll leave it here. The Executive Director for Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy. Thank you so much for speaking to us on Good Afternoon Ghana. I'm sure we're also monitoring together. Let's see how it goes. If government is also going to pay heed. You have your last word. You will have some, last words to add. If not,
also, beyond the D-levy issues, I think there's also an issue of fuel allowance. I think the government should disclose the savings we are likely going to make from these fuel allowance and where these savings will be redirected to for national development. And that is key for transparency and accountability sake.
Now that you even mentioned the fuel allowance, let me just ask you, the announced total power outage that was going to happen, that didn't happen. Government said that it had managed the sector properly, and so that total outage that was announced earlier was not going to happen. What exactly was the management?
So I think that government miscommunicated because if you look at our power consumption locally, mostly our peak demands are in the evenings. What it means is that sometimes residential usage of power is higher than industrial usage of power. And in this country, there are certain times that even football match, Chelsea or Barcelona playing alone peaks our demand for power. And the maintenance work was going to take place on Sunday. And Sunday, most industries do not work. So if they had not communicated earlier, they could have diverted power that was going to the industries, to the household sector, so that we will not even observe any power outage. But I think the minister did communicate earlier, and that created that agitations and pandemonium of a whole outage. But later, when they realized that no, it was going to take effect on Sunday, and Sunday we could redirect power from the industrial sector to the residential sector. Yeah. That is why there was no any outage. I think that they did well in that regard.
Right. Right. Executive Director for Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, Benjamin Insia, I'm grateful for your time this afternoon. Thank you for speaking to us. And that's about the energy as well. But just before we go, let me also remind you that the minority in Parliament has held a press conference updating us on what it thinks about what happened in Ablekuma West. It's calling for the head of Malik Batintale, the CEO for NYA, and is saying that he's lost his rights of being called a government appointee and the CEO for that matter, for what exactly I cannot put my hands on, but that I can interpret it to mean that he is the one that led a group of people he called 5K men and 3K women into the constituency to campaign, and therefore triggering other following incidences. Maybe that's what the minority is trying to say. On that note, we'll draw the curtain here on Good Afternoon Ghana. Thanks for watching.
They are miles ahead of us.
Okay.
Sanity, discipline,
yes,
and the exposure that you need. You're getting it.
That's right.
Look at Tetekwashi today.
Yes.
If you drive there.
Yes.
I left just 2-3 years ago, and the place has become like a mayhem. I want to put on record that all the boards, when you see a board, then you also want to put your board by it. You are creating a clutter, and your client is losing visibility and exposure.
Indeed.
If you do the research, all the boards, there, none of the targets, nobody sees them.
Nobody sees them.
You are just throwing your money away to those young boys who have come to deceive you to put the board.
This week, join me on another riveting episode of Titans and Trailblazers at 8 p.m. Don't miss it.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Since when did they start locking these gates? Who are you? What do you want?
Tell the owner of the house I'm here to see him.
The owner of the house doesn't want to see anybody.
Are you stupid? I said go and tell the owner of the house I'm here to see him.
Madam, from my point of view, you have to leave here now. Or I handle you like a criminal.
Look at this lunatic. Have you lost your mind? Open this damn gate! I said go and tell the owner of the house I'm here to see him.
Madam, you see this leg? The last time I used this leg, they placed it in the general hospital. If I read this leg again, madam, madam, you have to leave.
Open this gate!
Silas!
Madam.
What is going on there?
Madam, now this troublesome woman, oh. I tell her, say you know they are around. She just there, they rant, oh.
Who they rant? Your friend, open this gate!
Enough. Let her in.
Madam, I open them.
Who are you talking to like that? Are you mad? Are you stupid?
If I handle you,
Hey, madam, hold it there.